Look, I'm going to be straight with you. You're bleeding time every single day. And the worst part? You probably don't even know where it's going. You roll out of bed with big plans, maybe even a little fired up, and then somehow the day just evaporates. You're busy the whole time, but when you actually stop and think about what you accomplished, not much. Sound familiar? Here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. It's not a time problem. Everyone gets 24 hours. Elon Musk gets 24 hours. Your most productive friend gets 24 hours. You get 24 hours. The difference isn't the clock, it's what people choose to do with it. So let's get into the exact habits and systems that separate the people who are drowning in busyness from the ones who are actually moving the needle. Step 1. Work less. But work on the right stuff, and this one's going to sting a little, so brace yourself. Most of the stuff on your to-do list doesn't actually matter, like at all. There's a principle called the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, and once you really internalize it, you can't unsee it. The basic idea is that roughly 80% of your outcomes are driven by just 20% of your inputs. That means a small chunk of what you're doing is responsible for nearly everything meaningful that happens in your life. The rest, it's just noise. Think about how this plays out practically. If you're a student grinding away for hours every night, there's a good chance that 1 or 2 study techniques, maybe active recall, maybe working through past exams, are responsible for most of your actual grade improvements. So the other hours you spend highlighting textbooks and rereading notes? Largely wasted effort that feels productive but isn't. If you run a business or work in sales, a handful of clients probably generate the bulk of your revenue. If you're a content creator, a small percentage of your videos or posts likely drive most of your audience growth. So the brutal question you need to ask yourself, regularly, not just once, is what are the 2 or 3 things I could do this week that would actually move my life or career forward in a meaningful way? And then, equally important, what am I doing right now that I could just stop doing entirely, delegate to someone else, or at minimum deprioritize without any real consequence? Most people never ask these questions. They just keep piling more tasks onto an already overwhelming list and wonder why they feel exhausted and stuck at the same time. Stop doing that, ruthlessly cut. Focus on the 20% that drives real results and let the rest go without guilt. Step 2, plan your week before it starts, not the morning of here's a mistake that's absolutely killing your productivity, and you might not even realize you're making it. You're starting your days without a real game plan. You wake up, maybe check your phone, respond to a few messages, grab coffee, and then sort of figure it out as you go. You're reacting to whatever lands in front of you rather than proactively working toward things that actually matter to you. That's not a productivity strategy. That's just chaos with a schedule. The fix is simple, but you have to actually do it. Before your week kicks off, Sunday evening or Monday morning before anything else starts, sit down and map out what you're actually trying to accomplish. Not a laundry list of 30 tasks, 3 to 5 real, meaningful goals for the week. The things that, if you got them done, would make the week feel genuinely successful. Once you've got those, break them apart. A big goal sitting on a list does nothing. It just looms over you, vague and intimidating. But when you break it down into small, concrete, specific actions, things you can actually do in a focused hour, it stops being intimidating and starts being executable. Now here's where most people drop the ball even when they do this part right. They write their goals and tasks in a notebook or an app and then never look at it again. Don't do that. Just take those tasks and put them directly on your calendar. Assign them to specific days. Treat them like meetings you can't cancel. Because if something doesn't have a time and a place, it lives in the vague land of I'll get to it eventually, which usually means never. When Monday morning hits and you already know exactly what you're doing and why, you're not wasting the first 30 minutes figuring out where to start. You just start. That alone will change how your days feel. Step 3, time block like your results depend on it. They do. So you've identified your priorities and you've got them on your calendar. Good. But here's the next problem. Having tasks on a calendar doesn't automatically mean you'll do them, because procrastination doesn't care about your to-do list. It'll happily let you stare at a task for 3 hours while you do literally everything else. This is where time blocking becomes your secret weapon, and it's one of the most underrated productivity strategies out there. Time blocking means you're not just scheduling what you need to do. You're scheduling when, for how long, and in what kind of focused environment you're going to do it. You're creating dedicated windows of time that are protected, intentional, and non-negotiable. Here's what this can actually look like in practice. You block 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. for deep, focused work on your highest priority task. During that window, your phone is on Do Not Disturb, your email is closed, your notifications are off, and you are locked in on one thing. No multitasking, no quick checks, just focused execution. Well, so at the 10 a.m., you take the genuine 20 to 30-minute break, not a scroll your phone break, an actual mental reset. Go for a short walk, grab some water, do something that lets your brain decompress. Then you come back and do another focused block. Give yourself a real lunch break, a full hour if you can, where you're actually stepping away from work mentally. Your brain is not a machine. It needs recovery time to stay sharp. And if you skip breaks thinking you're being more productive, you're actually just degrading your own output quality as the day goes on. The reason time blocking works so well is that it takes your intentions and turns them into structure. Vague intentions evaporate. Structure doesn't. When you know that from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. you're working on one specific thing and nothing else, but it becomes dramatically easier to actually do that thing rather than drift between tasks and distractions all afternoon. Try building out a time-blocked schedule for just 1 week and see what happens. You'll be uncomfortable at first because it feels rigid. Push through that. The results will speak for themselves. Step 4. Get brutal about cutting time. Wasters, all right, real talk. You are probably wasting more time than you think, and a lot of it happens in ways that feel harmless or even productive in the moment. Social media is the obvious one. You open TikTok or Instagram for just a second, and suddenly you've lost 45 minutes to an hour. That's not even a small problem. That's a massive chunk of your most valuable resource just gone. And the wild part is that you don't even really feel refreshed after it. And you just feel empty and slightly behind on everything. But social media isn't the only culprit. Email is a huge one. If you're checking your inbox every 10 or 15 minutes throughout the day, you're constantly interrupting your own focus and training your brain to expect and seek those little dopamine hits. Research consistently shows that it takes significant time to get back into deep focus after an interruption, sometimes 20 minutes or more. Multiply that by how many times you check your email or respond to a Slack message mid-task, and you can see how your deep work time is getting absolutely shredded. Then there's the saying yes to everything trap. You take on every request, every meeting invite, every favor someone asks of you. And before long, your schedule is just packed with other people's priorities, and there's no room left for your own. Saying no is a skill, a critically important one, and most high performers have gotten very good at it. Here's how to start cutting through the noise practically. Batch your email. Pick 2 or 3 specific times during the day to check and respond, and ignore it outside those windows. Set hard limits on social media, even if you need an app to enforce them. Block distracting sites during your focused work periods. And the next time someone asks something of you that doesn't align with your actual priorities, practice saying no, or at minimum, not right now. Every time waster you eliminate is time you're giving back to yourself. And over the course of a week, those reclaimed hours add up to something significant. Step 5. Review your week. Every single week without exception. This is the step that separates the people who make steady, consistent progress from the ones who stay stuck in the same patterns for years. And it's one that even the most elite performers, executives, athletes, entrepreneurs, take seriously. At the end of every week, before you jump into the next one, you sit down and you do an honest review. Not a brutal self-criticism session, but a clear-eyed assessment of how the week actually went. Ask yourself real questions. Did I accomplish the goals I set out at the beginning of the week? If not, why not? Was it poor planning, unexpected obstacles, distraction, overcommitment? What took longer than I expected, and what can I learn from that? Where did I get derailed? And how can I set up next week to make that less likely? What actually worked well that I should double down on? The reason this matters so much is that without a weekly review, you're just repeating the same week over and over and hoping for different results. You don't have a feedback loop. You're flying blind. But when you review consistently, you start to notice patterns. You realize that you're always most focused and energetic in the morning, so you stop scheduling meetings before noon. You notice that a specific type of task always takes you 3 times longer than you expect. So you start planning for that. You identify which distractions keep coming up so you can eliminate them structurally rather than just fighting them with willpower. Productivity isn't a destination you arrive at, it's a practice you keep refining. With the weekly review is how you make sure you're actually getting better at it rather than just grinding harder without getting smarter. Bottom line, nobody who's genuinely crushing it in their career or life is working 16-hour days fueled by sheer hustle and willpower. That's a myth. What they're actually doing is working with intention. They know what matters, they protect their focus, they eliminate the garbage that wastes their time, and they keep adjusting their approach based on what's actually working. You don't need more hours. You need to stop letting the ones you have slip through your fingers. Pick one of these 5 steps, just one, and actually implement it this week. Don't try to overhaul everything at once, because that's how you end up overwhelmed and doing nothing. Start with the 80-20 analysis. Or block your time for a single day. Just do one honest weekly review on Sunday. Whatever resonates most, do it. Then come back and build on it, because that's how real change actually happens. Not in one massive overnight transformation, but in small, consistent improvements stacked on top of each other over time.